else is sick and fucking tired of seeing all the carnivore shit all over these fucking apps. No one cares if you only eat meat. Every single one of you have to identify by carnivore fucking Connie, carnivore Ken, whatever the fuck your name is, and you add carnivore to the end of it on your fucking bio is fucking weird. Weird. You're literally treating your diet like a fucking religion. A religion. A meat religion. Okay? Like, what in the absolute meat fuck is this shit? Your fucking boards with your eggs and your cheese and your fucking butter and your dates. Who cares? You can't shit. Your fiber intake is fucking zero, and you think you're just fucking trudging through life getting all healthy. Get the fuck out of here. No one cares. Your meat fucking ass, your meat farts, your meat sweats. No one wants to fucking hear about it. Okay?
All right. Welcome back to the Meat of the Matter. We are live Sundays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. in the UK and Ireland, and 7 p.m. in the Netherlands and Europe. Peter is taking a vacation day today. He's got some stuff to do. He's busy. But we are here with our guest. And the great thing about meeting people all around the world doing this is we get to meet people like Bill, and he's the Cumbrian carnivore, and we're very, very thankful for him to come on and talk to us about his story, his journey, and how he became the Cumbrian carnivore. So, Bill, we'll just throw it over to you. If you want to just start, let us know what you're all about, how you became the Cumbrian carnivore.
So my story really begins 10 months ago, end of August. I was diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and cirrhosis of the liver. And I was type 2 diabetes as well, and my HbA1c was absolutely through the roof at the time. It was at 99, and that it needed to be below 7. So I walked out of that consultation, and I decided there and then that was it. I was quitting sugar, I was quitting potatoes, rice, and pasta. That was the 4 groups because I knew that they were the main sugar producers in my diet. I then progressed further into seed oils, and I also quit cereals. Obviously, bread was one of the first things I quit as well. And the only advice they gave me was you need to go on a Mediterranean diet. And I was like, well, what the hell's a Mediterranean diet? What's this about? And they give me nothing. They didn't give me one thing. All they said, Mediterranean diet. And it was a few weeks later, I went to see one of the doctors, and I told him all the food groups that I'd quit. And I went to see this obese doctor. And at the time, I was about 150 kilos, just below 150 kilos. The weight started to come off me before I'd even seen the doctor. And I said, look, you've told me I've been told I've got cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver disease, and go on a Mediterranean diet. What's that about? I said, I've quit sugar, I've quit pasta, I've quit rice, I've quit potatoes, and I'm reducing the amount of carbohydrates. Oh, you must eat your carbohydrates. But what he did, he printed off a 50 something page document on the carnivore diet. Well, there's no way I'm going to read that. So I just made it simple. I quit those. I knew what was causing my diabetes. I didn't quite understand at the time how the liver functioned. So that was something at 57 years old I was at the time. I didn't really know what the liver did. I now know exactly what the liver does. But what I found through investigation was that it was the carbohydrates, the sugar, and the liver having to work overtime to turn the carbohydrates into glucose and obviously spiked my insulin levels so that wasn't really used. It was stored as fat. And I was always under the impression that fat made you fat, which absolute rubbish. Fat's already fat. It's not going to make you fat. It's already fat. So that went on until like over Christmas. I'd quit alcohol and everything. I lost a massive amount of body fat in those first few months. I think I lost something like 4 stone in the first 3 months. And obviously a lot of it's water retention. When you start cutting down on the carbs, it's water retention. But I got to January and I just thought, I want simple. I don't want to be stood there making, food, pretend food. Or let's make some keto bread. I didn't see the point in it. It's not bread. It looks like bread, but it isn't bread. So rather than go down that road, I thought, do you know what? I like meat. I realised that I'd always liked meat. And if I ever went out for a meal, it was always like a mixed grill with eggs that I would have. Yeah, I'd have the chips and the sides on it. But that was more out of, that I realised was out of addiction rather than need. So January, I just quit all carbs. I quit the sugars, the raspberries and strawberries that I was using as a low carb, kind of alternative to the sugar for the sweet taste. And I just purely went meat, eggs and cheese. One thing, I went on to black coffee at the time because coffee was something that I really, really felt I needed and enjoyed. But I went on to black coffee and I found, I pretended to like it and I didn't really like it, black coffee. It was like, so I started putting cream in because that also got my fat levels up. Now, bear in mind that I'd done no exercise. I haven't exercised in years. I did a little bit, like a few 100 steps here and there in kind of September. My cousin encouraged me to do a little bit of walking, but the most I'd done was like 200, 300, 400 steps at a time. So all the weight I lost was down to diet. It was nothing to do with exercise. And then once I went carnivore, I found just this energy. So I'd be sat there watching the TV and I'd just be kind of, I need to do something. So I started going for little walks, mile here and a mile there. And before you know it, I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mile walks in the morning before the kids get out of bed. My house, I've never been one for doing housework or gardening. I was always too big and too lazy, really. Anyway, I started cutting the grass. I went to the toilet one night in between watching something. Come down an hour and a half later, I'd gutted the bathroom. It was like, what's going on? And it's just this abundance of energy that I've always got. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I go to bed sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, bounce out of bed. Right, go for a walk. I live in a lovely part of the world. So the idea of the Cumbrian Carnivore come about. I thought, well, people are seeing me. I'm quite well known in the town. I'm a local businessman in the town, and I've been quite prolific over the last 4, 5, 6 years on social media. So everyone pretty much knows me, and I just wanted to start encouraging people to do the same. So I invented the Cumbrian Carnivore, got it all branded up, used our facilities to to create it. And I went on to TikTok for the first time. TikTok, which I thought was for kids. And I had no followers on it at all. And I just started doing videos because we're a tech support company, and we do web design and multimedia as well. We do like live streaming and things like that. So obviously I've got the equipment to be able to do things. So I started producing little videos and started posting them on TikTok. Well, the second video that I created had 42,000 views, and it had no followers. It was like, what's going on here? So I thought, well, I like this, so I carried on. And now, you know, people are contacting me all the time. Have you got diet plans? You know, what a meal plan for me? Have you got, and it's dead simple, you know, stick to it, eat meat, eat cheese if you can tolerate dairy. Some people can't, they don't do dairy. I do dairy, and eggs. Oh, you can't eat all those eggs. That's the worst one. Is it's dangerous eating all those eggs. How can it be dangerous? It's one of the most nutritional things you can eat. The other one is red meat. Oh, red meat will cause you cancer. What about all the carbs I was eating? You know, it's like, come on. I'm no longer type 2 diabetic. I don't get gout anymore. Gout, now that's a big lie, is gout. Oh, it comes from prawns and red meat. Well, hang on a minute. I eat more prawns and red meat now than I ever have, and I don't get gout. I quit those tablets when I started going carnivore. It's like,
Tony,
you know, and the rot that people believe,
Tony,
it's unbelievable.
No, I was just gonna say, Bill, like you sound like me everything you say. Like I love your passion. It's unbelievable. And this is what resonated with me. This is what resonated me with your videos. Like your passion is just incredible. It really is.
For sure. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's like,
well, I do get, if I believe in something, I am passionate about it, and everyone needs to know. You know, because I believe in what I'm saying. So many health issues have been reversed.
Yeah.
Just now, I went for an ultrasound 3 months after that initial, the initial diagnosis of fat, more so for the fatty liver disease. Okay, and when they did this ultrasound, she said, well, that doesn't look like a fatty liver to me. That was 3 months, not into carnivore, but that was 3 months into cutting all those processed foods. It was the processed foods, the sugar, the pasta, the rice, the potatoes, the seed oils, the whole grain healthy grains, you know, and the bread with the whole grain bread rather than the white bread. And she couldn't see the fatty liver in 3 months. My type 2 diabetes, I went from 99 down to, so I had a test 2 months after I'd started I'd quit those. So that was like the August, and it was the end of October. I had another test. It was at 43, I think it was, just slightly high. 3 months later, it was at 38. The last one was at 33.
Wow.
So I'm now reversed type 2 diabetes.
Amazing.
So I'm not going to...
Uh-oh.
No, where's he gone?
Oh, no.
Or feet.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
We
okay.
lost you.
We lost you for a minute there.
Yeah, somebody phoned me.
Oh, yeah, I think we lost you at you losing.
So yeah, so I'm not in fear of. Yeah, so I'm not going to lose a limb through diabetes anymore. do you know before I started this, I had I used to get cellulitis in my legs quite a lot, and it was always dangerous because I was diabetic and it took so long to heal. Now I got I cut myself on my pedal of my bicycle, and I had an open wound for 12 months. And that's because the diabetes wouldn't let me heal, and people don't understand the dangers of diabetes and the consequences of being diabetic, because what happens is the doctors get paid to prescribe you medication to combat the diabetes. And the other thing, if you so I was on 7 different tablets twice a day. So because I was diabetic, I didn't pay for prescriptions. So that's worth staying diabetic for, isn't it? So I don't have to pay for my prescriptions. But I'm now down to, so I no longer take 2 different diabetes tablets. I don't take gout tablets. My blood pressure, I still take blood pressure tablets, but I'm under control now. It was way high and out of control, but now it's controlled. And the only other thing which I'm going to be losing that soon, I know, because of the amount of fasting I do, my gut health is improving. Another thing, I had irritable bowel syndrome. I was never regular. It was all over the place. Now they keep telling me you need fibre. Well, if that's what fibre does for you, you can keep it. Because I have 0 fibre and I go every day, perfect, no problems. I haven't done that since I was a teenager, you know. And it's like, oh yeah, where's your fibre? Do you know when I quit the sugar? I mean, this was serious. So when I quit the sugar, I thought, well, I'm not taking sugar now, so therefore my insulin isn't going to spike. So I shouldn't be taking diabetes tablets. I shouldn't be taking the medication. I was on gliclazide and metformin. So when I went to see that obese doctor that gave me the 50-odd page document on the Mediterranean diet, he was sat there with his buttons popping. He said, I said, I've stopped taking my medication. Oh, you must take your medication. I said, but I'm not taking any sugar. So if I'm not taking any sugar, why do I need the medication? Oh, you must take the medication until we tell you otherwise. So I went, all right, I'll take the doctor's advice, because that's what you do, don't you? You trust your doctor. So I started taking my medication, my metformin and my gliclazide. Now, I didn't realise what the gliclazide does. So the metformin, I understood that because that was explained to me when I first started taking it. So it's like oil in the lock, putting WD-40 in the lock so that the insulin can get in there and work. Right? Okay, understand that. No idea what the gliclazide did, but they threw it at me because my HbA1c was too high. So I'm sat in the house one night, and I started getting these hot flushes, and it felt like my blood pressure was dropping. So I checked my blood sugars, 3.2. I thought, that's not good. I thought, I'll leave it 15 minutes, see what's going on. 3. Thought, right, 15 more minutes, and then I'm going to have to do something here. 2.8. So I had to eat a banana. Now, what I later found out was that gliclazide lowers your blood sugar. So that doctor didn't know what he was talking about by telling me to keep taking my medication. The metformin, fair enough, that wouldn't have done me any damage, but the gliclazide, that's the first time I'd ever had a hypo. And when I went to see the I stopped taking them there, and that was it. I'm not taking them. Went to see a diabetic nurse. She said, you shouldn't have took your gliclazide. Yet the GP told me I had to take my medication. So how much notice do you think I take of the GPs now?
Well,
Crazy.
I think you have 2 other guys right here that agree and feel the same way, man. Because
so the next one was they did my bloods, and Guess what was high?
Cholesterol.
You got it. LDL levels had started to double. Each one, it had doubled. So basically what happened was I got a call off the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, I'm calling you about your cholesterol." I said, "Okay," and he said, "We need to do some. What's gone on? Why is your cholesterol gone so high?" I said, "Well, before you start, can we just reverse a little bit and look at the other results?" I said, "I'm no longer type 2 diabetic. I said, I've reversed diabetes. I said, I've lost 6 stone. This was after 6 months. I said, I've lost 6 stone in weight, right? I said, I'm walking every day. All my kidney markers had come down, my liver markers had come down, everything had come down except my LDL, which had risen." And he said, "Well, what have you done?" I says, "Well, I'm now carnivore diet." He said, "Say no more." And the doctor stayed on the phone for 30 minutes with me, getting my advice, because he'd looked at the research and he'd begun a very low carb diet, and he was working towards the carnivore diet. This was the first time out of 6 doctors I'd seen, 6 doctors telling me you must take carbohydrates. You can't do without your carbohydrates. You can't live without it. And that one doctor that had done his research and had started the journey. But 30 minutes that doctor was on not in and out, get on you go. My next blood test, the LDL had risen even more. But guess what? I didn't get a call off the doctor.
Wow, there's hope. That's nice to hear about a doctor that's just actually listening. That's really rare.
Very. And the other thing as well, the problem that we have as carnivores is there has been no research into the carnivore diet.
No.
There's been research into red meat, and I spent a long time the other day researching this. There's been studies have been done by the Doctors and Nurses Association, and the subjects were doctors and nurses. They were part of the medical profession, and they studied the effects of red meat and heart disease. But the problem is they tie red meat into the same category as processed meat. Yeah. And then they say, and that can cause heart disease. But there's no actual link to heart disease for a pure carnivore. So a pure carnivore is a lot different to somebody that eats a lot of meat. And this is what people are not understanding. This is what the researchers are not doing. Why are they not doing it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we only spoke about this last week, Bill, on the Randall cycle. Mixing carbs, sugars with fats. And this is where people are going wrong. They're talking about red meat, but they're not focusing on, okay, what are you having that red meat with? So
Well,
it's like,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, not to mention every study includes a hot dog is processed meat, but they don't, the buns included, right? Pizza.
Exactly.
Pizza is considered meat. You know, that's
the problem is that it's the studies are flawed, and they're in favor. And my problem is this, and I've just got one of my videos have been taken down from TikTok because of it, because of the association with pharma and processed foods. So they took it down. But I was clever in the way I did that one, because I asked ChatGPT, of all the conspiracy theories there are out there, which is most likely to be true. So that was the whole basis of and chat came back with the collusion between big pharma and the food industry. And that's what it come back with. So the whole narrative was this is what I asked Chat GPT. Although there's no proof, and I said there's no proof, there's no smoking gun, but it is the most likely to be true. And the more you think about it, the more it's true. Big pharma, they produce additives and preservatives that the food industry put in the food, and then big pharma produce medication to combat them additives and preservatives that they've put in our food chain.
Yes, 100%.
And that's a good point too, because our government organizations, I'm not sure what it is in the UK and Ireland, but Health Canada, for instance, our FDA, they get paid by the same companies to the generally recognized it's safe list. What the hell? Like, if you just think about that, they don't even say that. They say GRAS list, but they put chemicals in there.
I went further. So when I was doing my research into the research that's been going on, I asked who is funding the research. Who do you think's funding the research?
The Rockefellers.
The pharmaceutical companies and the food industry.
Yeah,
they're funding the research, so they're setting the goalposts for the research, so that and that's why red meat is mixed in with processed meat. There isn't a red meat and a processed meat. It's red meat and processed meat.
Yeah. 100%.
And then the governing bodies get funded by the people that are doing the research. So it's like one big, it's, I think
it's one big mess.
It was like, instead of the military industrial complex, it's basically the big food pharma industrial complex. Like, it's all they're all intertwined, and it's
all tied in. Yeah.
And it's so nice.
I mean, the other thing, you try and tell people, and you say, look, you're addicted to sugar. You're addicted to this shit. And basically they go, oh, don't be daft. or they'll go, yeah, I understand that. Now, if it was heroin, would you be giving your kids it? Do you know what I mean? And and in fact, heroin is actually less dangerous than sugar.
Yeah.
You could take heroin every day of your life for the rest of your life, pure grade heroin, and you will not lose 1 hour of life. Yeah. The reason people die from heroin is because it's cut with all sorts of nasty things. It's all different strengths, so people don't know how much, so they end up having overdosing. But if you were given a fixed measure every day, it would be less harmful than the sugar that we're intaking.
Well, plus, and if you look at it from that perspective too, like with the physical dependency, people argue, because like eventually heroin becomes your body's physically dependent, and people, you ask them to cut sugar out for 7 days, and they're like, "Oh, I could do it."
Can't do that.
No. You can cut sugar. I mean, all of it. Carbs, pasta, crackers, chips. Oh, bread. What? That's not sugar. Yes.
So I haven't had now, I didn't realize this. I used to wake up in the morning and I'd have like these pains in my stomach, like hunger pains. So I need to eat. And it wasn't until like 10 days it was actually after I stopped eating those sugars, I stopped getting that hunger pain. It's like, well, I've never had it since. So that's the withdrawal. Them hunger pains are the withdrawal from sugar. That's the sugar withdrawal.
Yes. And see, this is the big issue we have now that's going on in the moment. We have a huge obesity crisis at the moment. And every time you talk to these people, the one thing that always comes up is, why can you not stick to a diet? They always say the exact same thing. I can't stick to it because I'm hungry all the time. You hear this regular trend about food noise. I can't stick to it because I'm constantly hungry. And then you're saying to them, okay, the reason why you're not hungry. It's because you've been doing the exact same diet, even though there's a different name to it. You're doing the exact same diet every single year. You still have sugar in the diet. You're not switching off that hunger hormone.
So I've always been obese. You know, I'm now the weight I was, and I'm just above 16 stone. This was what the weight I was when I left school. So this is kind of the lowest I've been in a long time. Now, you know, I've just over 100 kilos I am now, even though I'm still big. You know, I've lost a third of my body weight in the last 10 months.
You're snowballing the right way.
I'm on the journey, and this is what the beauty of the Cumbrian Carnivore is. It's not, I'm not, you know, Edward whatever, you know, where he's like this and he's got there and he's like, eat like this and you know, this is attainable. You know, you can go from, and every day, 2 or 3 people don't recognize me in the town. It's a small town, and I was talking to one of my clients just last week. I was talking to one of my clients, and I'd seen her a month before, and I said, "Oh, I've just been in your shop." She didn't have a clue who I was. Just 1 month, you know, which is crazy.
It's incredible.
But I forgot where I was going to go with that. Then I got waylaid. I talk too much sometimes.
Oh, no.
No, I was just going to mention, like you said, Bill, like you're doing this 10 months, you've lost an awful lot of weight, but you know you're going to do this for the rest of your life. Like there's no rush. You know, in a year's time, you're probably going to lose another 10, 15, 20 kilos easily. So you know exactly what's going to happen now in the next couple of months. So for me, well.
Yeah. So where I was going with it was diets. So I've dieted because I've been big all my life. I've dieted all my life. I've tried them all. Tried the Atkins diet. Now I now know why the Atkins diet didn't work for me. So I did that for 2 weeks, but I hadn't got past the sugar addiction because I was still having some low carbs. But that was the problem, and I ended up coming out of that because I was dreaming of toast.
Yes.
And I got up one day and I just went, you know what? Everyone was eating toast, and I just, you know, so I didn't understand the sugar addiction. I did a restrictive 500 calories a day diet, which cost me my gallbladder, to be fair. There was 0 fat in it. It was 1 carbohydrate and 1 bit of protein. And I did that for 3 months. And then what happened was, when I'd stopped it, I'd lost loads of weight, but I wasn't well. And then I went to one of those all-you-can-eat buffets that was all full of fat.
Yeah, your bowel function is just
destroyed my gallbladder. So I'm a carnivore without a gallbladder, and that was one of the reasons that I didn't go carnivore sooner, because I thought, I haven't got a gallbladder, I can't go carnivore. I haven't got a gallbladder. Didn't even understand how it worked.
When you realize that the gallbladder stores bile, but doesn't mean you're not going to use the bile. And if you're constantly using your bile and it's working in your system, and the cholesterol recycling is good, your gut's not leaky and healthy, this is all okay. It's people get freaked out.
Yeah, and I was actually going to make another point. When you eat too much protein, like you mentioned, Bill, like the Atkins diet, this is why it was never going to be sustainable, because you're not getting energy from protein. And if you're eating way too much of it, it will convert in sugar. So this is where you were getting these rapid cravings. So you're eating way too much protein. That's going to convert to gluconeogenesis. This is where we get these sugar cravings. So this is where it blows the argument out of the water when people say you need carbohydrates. Our bodies can produce the sugar that we need. We can get it through meat alone, which is protein, because that will convert to gluconeogenesis. If you eat too much of it, it will convert to sugar. But the thing is, like, in order for you to slow down that process, people will say, okay, you need to eat the fiber. If you want to slow the absorption of that sugar, you need to eat more fiber. No, bullshit. You need to just add it the way it's meant to be added, and that's the way nature gave it to us, and that's just eat it with the fat in it. Simple. That's it.
And a lot of people with gallbladder issues too, they don't realize that cholesterol, it's sludgy bile. It's not getting used. You're getting blocked, and it's causing headaches and migraines and all sorts of problems. And unfortunately, the go-to for doctors is, we'll just take it out. You don't need it.
Yeah.
But they say you don't need it, but then but then they scare the shit out of you to eat low fat. And it's like,
Exactly.
well, the gallbladder's there to help you digest and absorb the fat.
So,
And it's,
the tail with mine was mine was mush. By the time they come to take it out, it was mush. They went to do keyhole and they couldn't do keyhole, so it was a major operation to remove it. So it wasn't rescuable by the time they come to take it out. So, but I function. It hasn't bothered me at all. You know, I eat a high fat. I worked out today that I'm doing about 65% fat, 35% protein, and I'm at the protein level that I need to for my weight. So I was more protein. So the thing about the carnivore diet, it's something. It's a personal thing. There's no formula. You can't say to somebody, right, you need to eat this amount of protein, you need to eat this amount of fat. That's the magic formula. Your body will adjust to what you need, and it'll tell you what you need.
Yes.
So at first I was too much protein, not enough fat. I was scared of fat. That was the problem. Scared of fat. And I said to my mate, I said to Bruce, I said, I'm at a standstill, Bruce. He said, eat more fat. That was all he said. I said, yeah. He said, eat more fat.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he said, not eating butter.
Yeah, I was the same for years, Bill. I used to convince myself that I need more protein to build more mass. But like you, I'm eating like the lowest protein I've ever had in my life. Like I only weigh 130 pounds. That's all I weigh, around 10 stone. I should be aiming for about maybe 1.5 per pound of body weight. I'm only eating probably around 130, maybe 150. Now I could push it a little bit more if I wanted to, easily, but I'm eating a lot of fat.
Well, I think
this is how I'm maintaining the way I look.
Well, I think the trick is intuition. It's a natural instinct.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Listen to your body.
Right? Like you focus on a target to eat enough protein. That's the key. But then it becomes that ratio. That protein to fat ratio is very nuanced. Everybody's got that thing. And that's it's the funniest thing when I tell people that eat more fat and they look at you like, well, what do you mean? I'm eating a lot of fat. I'm like, well, how are you feeling? If you're feeling like if you're feeling sluggish or something's wrong in the dips, energy's not stable, you need more fat. And it's like they don't realize it's okay, like from all aspects.
I did a video on, fat does not make you fat.
Yes.
Sugar makes you fat. Fat's already fat, and it'll come out your body. If you don't use it, it'll come out your body one way or the other. You'll process the fat, and that's the key to it. But my fat intake, I've got it where I need to. I don't eat I tried eating venison, and I thought, there's no fat in this. This is no good to me. Why do I want lean protein? Yeah. So, like I said, I went today and bought 20 kilos of beef ribs, the fattiest cut you can get, and that I just love it. It's in there now for tomorrow morning, and if I'm eating once a day, I'll eat just under a kilo of that in a day. I'll have my coffees until dinner time with my cream in the coffees, and I'll have half a dozen eggs in the day. That's me for the day. Works out. The calories, although calories don't matter, and this is something else. Or it's everything in moderation. Just make sure your calories are less than the calories you need. It's like, that's not how it works. That isn't how it works.
And it's never how we worked ever in our history of our species. Like, we never counted shit. We just ate. And we ate what was available and what was natural. And, a lot of these arguments are like, well, people that eat a lot of meat, they don't understand that that they can't grow the food. And it's like, well, hold on a second. You're going to wait around for the crops to grow, and we're going to go hunt and feed ourselves. Okay. So that argument is ridiculous. And how many calories are in vegetables? Not many. So what the hell does it matter?
So I mean, this is how it worked. I mean, this is something. This was a revelation for me you know, before I became carnivore, it was like when I was eating the berry stage. And, you know, I realized, you know, that so as humans, we hunt in the spring and the summer. We hunt, we eat meat, and then comes to autumn, and there's fruit on the trees. Now, we don't store them fruit, so we would eat the fruit. And we would put fat on because we're not used to it. It would store as fat.
Yes.
That's seen us through the winter months. Not only during the winter months did we have less meat, we fasted because we couldn't eat every day. So our body's natural healing from the 2 months before, it naturally heals because you're going into autophagy, so your stomach's renewing itself. Then you're getting into stem cell production, which is going to fix those wounds you had when you were fighting the wild boar. And you know, and that's how, and it wasn't just once a month fasting for 3 days. It'd be like, you know, right, we're eating for 3 days, then we're not eating for another 3 days. None of us. You know, you've got fat, you've stored fat, that's what you're going to live on. We didn't go to the supermarket in the middle of summer and go, oh, I need some berries. Or, you know, in spring, oh, we'll go and get some berries down our neck. It didn't happen.
Yeah, and not to mention, if you look at like just eating berries and eating fruit in general, go ahead, eat the whole apple tree. It's not going to happen. There's a natural signal that says, okay, you've had enough. It's still there. You know, people that are picking berries, you pick a couple, eat a couple, but it was never like a bag of chips or Doritos or any of the processed food. It was a natural signal to say, okay, you've had enough.
Now, that's strange that you say that, right? Because my grandson loves strawberries, and he'd get a punnet and he'd eat the full punnet, but he'll eat, you know, a packet of biscuits as well, you know, and I would have been able to eat a packet of biscuits. I remember the last time I ate strawberries, I ate one strawberry, and I'd had enough.
Yeah.
One strawberry.
Yeah.
There wasn't that, oh, I need more. One strawberry.
Yeah. Try and eat 4 oranges. Like, try. You know what I mean? Maybe Christmas time, you eat these mandarin oranges and then you get sick. You know, and then you're like, there's a natural off signal, like with natural food. And I believe, like, you know, some people say they swear by fruit and honey. I disagree with, but I would say there might have been a time in wherever you are in your environment that if fruit presented itself, you would have said, hey, that looks great, let's eat it. But you would have not. It wouldn't have been to that excess. It never would be.
Honey is the very first processed food there ever has been. It's not. They go, it's coming from bees. No, it isn't. They're just processing it. It's not coming. It's a processed food.
Yeah. And I mean, if you looked at even honey, you go and eat a shitload of honey, you get sick because you just gorged yourself on this beautiful sweet. I guarantee you, in a natural, like, survival instinctive way, you wouldn't be feeling too good after. You wouldn't be doing it every day. You know what I mean? And I don't think it would be available every day. It's not something that would have been, you know, like even the people that go to the Hadza they search for honeys and but when they find it, it's a treat. We have taken the treat out of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're eating
just go buy it. Just go buy it.
So I think it's great that you sort of, it sounds like you've come into this, like, what makes sense logically, as you know, we don't do that anymore. And then you try.
It's the first. Do you know? I went on Weight Watchers, not Weight Watchers, Slimming World. God, they can eat. I couldn't be bothered eating that much. It's like they're always eating and they're losing weight. Great, good on you. Whatever's working works, but I couldn't be bothered eating that much food.
No.
And that's, you know, it's funny, like all three of us, like, you know, our stories, people know them. And now with you, sort of like the way I gravitated to the carnivore diet was, it was process of elimination for convenience, actually, because the more you learn about what your body needs and requires, and you sort of scale it down to start eating with your nutrition in mind or your health in mind, you start cutting out the noise. You just like, it's not about broccoli being good or bad for me. I don't need it. And it's a pain in the ass. And why? What does it bring to the table? Nothing.
So this was me with the biggest factor in becoming carnivore, right? And well, the whole thing of quitting the sugar. So get home from work. What am I going to eat tonight? Do you know what? I can't be bothered. I'll have pizza, doner kebab, blah blah blah, and then get it delivered because it's convenient, right? So when I went carnivore, right, I used the slow cooker, I used the air fryer, and I used the frying pan. That's it. That's it. I just went camping at the weekend. I took my air fryer with me, cooked everything in the air fryer. I did ribs, I did steak, everything for everyone, for me, my cousin, and his wife. We everything done in the air fryer. But, you know, no.
Oh, you want to talk
fry
about
some eggs
convenience?
up.
Talk convenience with Mark. He eats right out of the pan. Never mind the boards and all these people eating off the wooden boards.
Yeah, well,
right out of the pan.
Well,
I love it.
I pretty much do the same thing. So I cook me beef ribs in vacuum packed. I've got a vacuum packer, and I just put them in the slow cooker, 12 to 14 hours. Cut them open into a bowl. Fry the eggs, put the eggs in there as well. And if I want a bit of cheese on top, I'll put a bit of cheese on top. One bowl.
Yeah, and
One bowl. And a fork. That's it.
Do you know the reason why I eat out of the pan? Because I don't want to leave anything behind. Like I cook it in oil. Like I finish the whole thing. Trust me. I'm licking the pan.
And that's the other thing. No waste. Right?
I don't waste it all.
Forever coming to the fridge and this is out of date, and then this is out of date, and this what's that at the back smell? Oh, let's get that out of there. Now, if I have 2 steaks and I don't want to eat it all, that's another thing that I've stopped doing. I used to finish the plate. Now I stop when I'm full, and if I've got half a steak left, I'll just leave it on the plate, and my next meal that's cooked as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
no waste whatsoever.
It's interesting how we get deemed the heretics and these carnivores that are just. But it's, if you look at the whole food shoppers, all these green, sustainable foods that are getting delivered in trucks, how much processing gets involved, how much waste they throw. I don't throw anything away in my fridge. Nothing. It goes in freezer, fridge. Eat. That's it.
Yes.
One plate, one fork, less dish soap, less I don't have a dishwasher because I don't need one.
My daughter and my grandkids stay with me through the week because they live out of town and they go to school in this town, and it breaks my heart the amount of stuff that they'll go on a Friday. They'll go home on a Friday, and I'll open that fridge and I'll start throwing their stuff out. You know, it's like, well, none of mine. I've got my own fridge and I've got my own freezer. That's mine. You know, it's full of beef ribs at the moment, but that's mine. But yeah, no waste whatsoever. I love it. And when I go for my walks, the amount of packaged shite that I find that people have dumped, you know, and I even did a video of that on Facebook a few months ago, saying carnivores don't leave this mess lying around.
No, we don't have to take our plastic off anything. We don't have to unwrap anything. You know, it's just our butcher paper and our steaks. And not to mention the convenience of this. Like, I actually did a thing with my girl the other day, and I was like, "Oh, what do you feel like?" She's like, "I feel like a French omelet." Within 5 minutes, we were eating 2 French omelets with a little bit of cheese and some butter. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, how many parents feed their kids Kraft dinner and like these quick meals?
They're not as quick as that.
There's no way. It's like you can't go to McDonald's faster than, like, there's no fast food that's faster than what I just did. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like literally 4 minutes. Done.
Eggs are awesome because how can you tire of eggs? You can have omelette, you can have scrambled, you can have, you know, fried. You can have poached.
Toast, yeah.
It's like I can't boiled as well. And I'll tell you something else. The only thing that I make that takes some time is I make Scotch eggs.
Okay.
And basically I boil the eggs so they're soft boiled, and then I wrap them in 70-30 mince, and I use pork panko, like pork rind panko as the breadcrumbs.
Nice.
That's the only thing because that's one of those that I can leave in the fridge, and you know, it's a quick.
You just gave me a good idea.
I'm actually gonna try that. Yeah,
I forgot about Scotch eggs because I'm not a big hard-boiled egg guy. I don't like they just don't do anything for me. I'd rather eat them raw, just like Peter. You know, he's known to sucking back eggs raw. But yeah, Scotch eggs that sounds perfect because that's an interesting. Not a lot of people think about it.
And the other thing I do is sometimes I'll get some 70-30. My butcher makes me 70-30 mince.
Perfect.
And this is another thing that people don't realise. So 70-30 mince is better for you than the 5% fat mince. Yeah. The 5% costs you twice as much.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. So the other thing I do is little cubes of cheese in the middle of little balls of mince.
Nice.
And pop them in the air fryer. Again, just lovely snacky stuff.
Yeah, it's so much easier. And that's the other side of this where people say it's boring. They say it's I could never do that because that's too much. And I'm like, I don't know. I can eat steak and eggs every day, like no problem. It's just my easy go-to. But you know, now that I'm with my girlfriend, we're kind of having a little bit of fun, and it's unreal. I'm like, holy shit! The other day we made mussels with this sausage sauce and like Atlantic cod, and it was all in cream sauce and fatty. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't do that for myself because I don't need to. But when we're together, it's fun.
Yeah. So this my biggest problem is eating out because you can't eat out. So I went to a steakhouse in Coventry the other day, which is it's a fairly big city and fairly cosmopolitan. So I went to this top steakhouse, and so I said, "How's your steak cooked?" "Oh, well, I'll go and ask. Come back, rapeseed oil." I said, "Oh no, I can't. I've got allergies to steak, so I can't have that." So I says, "It's all right if you cook it in butter, but I can't have it cooked." "Oh, I think it's marinated in rapeseed." This rapeseed, it's angry. It's like poison.
That's
industrial lubricant in our food. So anyway, come back. So my cousin and his wife were eating, you know, they had steak and they had and I said, he come back, he says, the chef will do it in butter. He's got a dry one there, he'll do it in butter, spot on. So would you like lettuce with that? Hang on a minute.
We got a phone call.
Sorry, that was my cousin calling again. Sorry about that. I should have used the other phone. I've got a phone that no one uses. So anyway, I ended up with this 16-ounce ribeye in the middle of my plate, nothing else. And my cousin's wife, she said, "Can I have his sauce?" He's not having the sauce. "Can I have his sauce?" So she ended up with 2 sauces on hers. But just the fact that you can't go and eat carnivore anywhere in nowhere, even those that are advertising carnivore are not carnivore. No. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to open the Cumbrian Carnivore as the UK's first carnivore only establishment.
Nice. I'll be flying.
So
I'll come and see you guys.
That's because I'm on the edge of the Lake District. I think we're in a perfect position because we're on the edge of the Lake District and there is no carnivore. There's people that they advertise themselves as carnivore, but they are not true carnivore. So I'm going to open.
And what you're saying there too is like a lot of people don't understand. if you think from an economic standpoint, a business standpoint, as a restaurant, whether they're saying quality ingredients or not, they have money in mind. So where they can cut corners or where they can cheap out, it's very, very, like it's not just deep fryer oil. Like you got to be very careful. And I mean, I don't go out to eat generally either because it's just, I don't want to go buy.
You don't know what they're cooking it in.
And it's not to mention, it's like the amount I pay for a ribeye steak in a restaurant, I'd rather spend the same amount as a twice as big of a steak at home. Like there's just no point to do it, and it's tough. And I mean, seed oils, I say the same thing. I say I'm allergic to them. I'm like, do not put vegetable oil at all.
Yeah.
But it's a pain in the ass, and everybody has to look at you and why
but
not?
they don't realize that vegetable oil is seed oil as well.
Yeah.
They don't realize
any seed. Like I always say that butter only. If you have a problem, bake it in the oven with nothing. But it's a pain in the ass, and I don't enjoy it. It's like, why am I here?
Right. So I go to the butchers and I get chunks of fat and render it down myself. I got pots of it,
Nice.
so I render my own fat down.
Yeah.
So that's what I cook. It's either olive. The only other thing that I have that isn't is extra virgin olive oil. I'll use a bit of that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I went out
non-carnivore.
I went out for oysters, and I was doing a high fat thing at the time, so I brought my own butter, and the restaurant couldn't deal with it. They're like, "Why are you bringing your own butter? We have it here." It's like, I'll eat my grass.
But it's not grass fed.
Just leave me alone. And they're like, every oyster I'm eating like a teaspoon of butter with, and they're just like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm looking at all them going, "What's wrong with you?" Because
yeah. Same with salt. Salt's the same. I use sea salt. Because the table salt that you get at restaurants, it's just poison.
Oh yeah, it's disgrace. Yeah,
I carry salt around with me too. Like I mean, it's funny. I'm at work or I'm with the boys, and they're drinking, and I'm licking salt in the summertime, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm hydrating. They're like, "What?" Without
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So and Bill, like you were talking about your community, how you're starting to get some traction around where you live. How's that working?
Yeah, the local butcher's happy. But yeah, there's the only problem at the moment is there's a lot cutting corners, and they're taking this Mount Gyro or whatever it's called, these injections. And yeah, great, they're losing the weight, but as soon as they stop taking the injections, they've changed nothing. No, they're still eating the same foods because it's cheat, and this is the way the food industry is. But it's funny, I did a 10-week challenge back in when I first started this. We've got a local guy that runs like a fight club, and he runs a 10-week body challenge, and I signed up for it. I think it ended in December, so it was kind of a couple of weeks after I'd started my journey, and I signed up. Perfect. I've joined it before and got nowhere, so I joined it, and you pay £10, and the winner takes a big chunk of the pot, and then there's a second and a third, and so I won it. I won it 240 quid in my back pocket. And it's the first time I'd ever won anything.
Yeah.
Well, he did another one, didn't he? In January, and I'd started the Carnivore by then.
Yeah.
And I'd been like, "Oh yeah, you really need to go do the Carnivore." So he started doing the Carnivore, and he beat me.
No!
I only got 80 quid. He got the 200 odd, and he was using my tactics. I said, the only way you won that was because I gave you how to win it, and. Because it wasn't just on losing weight. The first one I lost so much weight. There's no way I could not win it. Yeah. But it also included putting muscle mass on and water fluids and things like that. But the other thing is, I was a 52-inch waist back in August, 38 now.
Wow.
I was in 5XL clothes. This is XL.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, have you got a picture of that?
Yeah, I've got it on my Facebook. I can send you
Okay,
that.
well,
Okay,
send us that picture and
I'll
send us a picture now.
I'll find you on Facebook too, and I'll
Yeah, so I've got several. I've got I've got a group called I've got a group, the Cumbrian Carnivore. I've got a page, Cumbrian Carnivore. I've got a profile, Cumbrian Carnivore. My personal one is Bill Amos on Facebook, and the Cumbrian Carnivore on TikTok.
Nice.
Nice.
But you can get me on any of those, and I'll accept you as friends. And the picture, in fact, if you look on TikTok, have you not seen the video on TikTok of me from last September?
I haven't.
Mark, have you not seen that
no,
one?
I haven't seen
So
it.
so in right. So if you have a look, it was I posted it a couple of weeks ago, and I went back to so there's a fountain in the middle of Coventry, and when I first started in September, it was so it was just after I'd started my journey. I stood in the middle of the fountain, and my cousin took a photo, and I walked up to it, and you could see me kind of struggling, and my belly stuck out, and me leaning back to walk. And then I took the same photograph or video 10 months later.
Wow.
A few weeks ago,
right on.
and you can see the difference.
Okay, can you actually save that, and I'll actually get Tony to put it on this video.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
Yeah.
So just save it and send it to my WhatsApp, and I'll send it on to Tony.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
But
Well,
boys,
there's a bit of talking, and basically I talk about how 10 months ago I was struggling to walk, and I was having to lean back to combat the weight of my belly. It was quite funny actually, because the fountain got me in I got soaked during it. But yeah, huge difference. You can see the difference.
That's amazing.
And even when I was before that, so before I started the journey, I'd started intermittent fasting. That kind of led me into it.
Yeah.
So 2 months before I got the diagnosis, I'd started intermittent fasting, which is another good way in if you want to encourage somebody to get into the progression, and it is a progression. So intermittent fasting, and that's what the picture I've got on my Facebook page is. It's got like intermittent fasting, me in Thailand, big beard, and then started the low sugar and moving across to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's Bill, your energy too is like, it's great to see. It's like it's I can feel it through the screen here. It's awesome.
I did an interview with a guy in Australia, No Carb Life, of the group No Carb Life.
Dave Mack, yeah.
Dave Mack, yeah. So I did an interview with him, and that was the same. People were commenting, going, "Wow, the energy!" Check that one out if you can find it. It's worth a watch.
Well, we are pushing an hour. I don't want to take up all of our days, but I really enjoyed our talk and hearing what you think and how you became the Cumbrian Carnivore. It's pretty. It's a story that people need to hear, and I think we really do appreciate you sharing everything and hanging out with us. And would love to have you back on and maybe come on a Sunday and hang out and throw some shade Peter's way, because Peter's probably gutted that he couldn't meet you, but he's a charmer, but he's busy.
I'm not shy.
Well, that's good. The world needs more carnivores coming out and screaming. And hey, if you open up an establishment for carnivores, I will fly over there specifically for that.
Yeah, sure. It's something that I'm really, we run a training establishment as well for neurodiverse individuals. So we run a community interest company, and my sister's one of the trainers, but she's a chef. So I'm going to speak to her about getting qualified so that I can, I've got all the food hygiene and things like that.
Yeah.
And then look for a property, because it's on my heart to do this.
That sounds
I think it'll be a gold mine, because there's nothing. And I personally, I looked, because I've just bought a caravan, so I was thinking, right, I'll find these restaurants that are carnivore, and I'll make a point of going there in my caravan, just so I can go and eat at a carnivore restaurant. There isn't any.
No.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
In the whole UK, 65 million people, and a ton of them are carnivores.
Yeah, and we're growing and we're fighting, right? That's the thing is, the support. I mean, I'm sure you could do some things with some local producers, ranchers, like around the UK. I know top quality beef is top quality beef everywhere, right? That's the goods. But
yeah.
But Bill, how do people find you? Like, I know you kind of mentioned it, but how do people find you? Where are you at? And let them know how to find the Cumbrian Carnivore.
At Cumbrian Carnivore. That's me handle on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook. You'll find me at the at Cumbrian
Awesome.
Carnivore.
And
I'm on all platforms.
All right, that's awesome. Well, people, seek him out, the Cumbrian Carnivore. Follow along. I'm excited to see more of you, and it was absolute pleasure to meet you.
Follow me on TikTok. Get me on TikTok. There's loads of videos there, loads of interesting stuff on TikTok. Follow me, like me, share me, and encourage me, because I'll encourage you, because that's what it's about. It's about encouraging people to live and not just exist.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's a
Eat
tagline.
meat, not wheat, and put the pork on your fork.
That is some words to live by, especially in this neck of the woods, my friend. Thank you for being here. If you want to just hang on while we just end this, and we'll just have a little chat about getting those videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Mark, any last final words?
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, Bill. I've been watching you now on TikTok, as you know, in the last couple of weeks. This is how I fell in love with your videos, because your passion is very similar to mine. I'm sure you watch my videos, you can see my passion as well. So yeah,
I nick some of your content and recycle it as well.
Good man. No, when I watched your videos, I was like, this guy is exactly like me. I love his passion. And I need to get him on.
I love it. Because I always enjoy. Now I'm going to have another video stream to watch, because in my mornings I get Mark's videos right away, because the time zone difference. It's morning for me, evening for you, and whenever he posts, it comes up right away, and it's just Mark. And that's how we sort of connected. Was this guy? I love him. He's raving about the stuff that I want to be screaming at people too. It's awesome. So yeah, man. And thanks for coming on. And just to remind everybody, we are live on Sundays on this channel, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. UK, Ireland, 7 p.m. in the Netherlands and continental Europe. Follow the Cumbrian Carnivore. You can find Mark at Fitness Beyond Time 01. You can find Peter at Dutch Carnivore, me at Tony_Food for Thought, and TonyStewart.com. Of course, Mark has his website, FitnessBeyondTime01.com. And please check out Mark's Carnivore Evolution podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you when we see you.